Welcome to the Cable Television Advisory Board. As chair of the Cable Television Advisory Board, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is another email. Meeting ID is 824-1200-5400. That's 824-1200-5400. The passcode is 100702. That's 100702. The public may also view this meeting on Comcast Channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.org and publicly noticed at Nashua City Hall and Nashua Public Library. If anybody has a problem accessing via phone or Channel 16, please call 603-589-3329 and they will help you connect. In the event that the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, the reason that they are not able to attend the meeting in person. Please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Also ask that you identify yourself when you're speaking so that the transcriptionist can capture that information. And hopefully this will be, my understanding is that we are among the last Zoom meetings that are going to be held under the executive order. So a little bit of historic there. All right. Jen. All right, Andrew Sinota is here. We have a new member of the committee, Justin Chapman. Mr. Chapman, are you here? I don't see him. All right, Ms. Highland.
I'm here and I'm alone in the room.
Yes, and I forgot to mention, I am alone in the room and I'm social distance per the order. Alderman Juddy. I believe you're muted. Yes, you are.
There you go. I'm home alone and I can hear the proceedings.
Excellent, thank you. Ms. Kleiner.
Good morning. I'm in my office at City Hall, social distancing, and I can hear the proceedings.
All right, and Ms. Linder has sent her regrets. Unfortunately, she can't join us today. Ms. McCormick.
Good morning, I'm Jen McCormick. I'm alone in my office and I can hear the proceedings.
Captain Medeiros.
Captain Dan Medeiros with the Nashua PD. I am alone, distancing in my office at the police department.
All right, Mr. Miservich.
Nick Miservich. I am remote in observance of social distancing guidelines. I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
And Chief Rhodes, I don't believe I see you on. Yes, he's not here with us.
Coming on right now.
Oh, okay. In the interim, Mr. Rodriguez, somehow you didn't make it onto the list on the city website. but I know you are a member of the committee, so are you here?
I am here. I'm alone in my office and observing social distancing.
All right, thank you. And I see that Chief Rhodes has joined us. We're doing a roll call now. If you could let us know if you're alone.
Good morning. My apologies. Yes, I am in my office alone.
All right. Let's begin with the first item on the agenda, since we don't have any members of the public present. Let's see, is there a motion with regard to the acceptance of previous meeting minutes? Chief Rhodes?
Make a motion to accept.
All right, there's a motion to accept. Any discussion? If not, we'll proceed with a roll call on that. Andrew Sonoda votes in the affirmative. Mr. Chapman's not here. Ms. Highland?
Yes, I vote in the affirmative as well.
Alderman Jetty?
Sally Highland.
Okay. Alderman Jetty?
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner?
Yes.
Ms. Linder is not here. Ms. McCormick?
Yes.
Captain Medeiros?
Yes.
Mr. Majrovich?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan is not with us. Chief Rhodes?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, Mr. Painter, would you like to present your reports?
Really will. All right, our current balance of our operating account 2505 is $658,533.97, and our expenses for May, including salaries and facility operations, totaled $26,625. And the total cable cast between April and May 2021 was, we had 91 live events. Education 99 had 41 and Government 16 had 50. We had 1,929 playbacks, and of this 96 had 907. Education 99, Public 96 had 907, and Education 99, 604, and Government 16, 418. Now I'll get on with the report. The governor has indicated that beginning June 12th, all public committee board meetings must be member populated in physical locations with at least a quorum before the remote element can be included. As our chamber hybrid capability has been completed and utilized by the Budget Review Committee and board since May 24th, we are ready for any nightly outcome that presents itself in that location. The auditorium will need to have this added capability as well. Access AV, who installed the present system, has presented, excuse me. If you can just hold 1 second, I'm going to make Pete a co-host too, I forgot. All right, so the auditorium will need to have this added capability as well. Access AV, who installed the present system, has presented us with an additional requirements to accomplish this. We therefore ask for your approval in an amount not to exceed $7,500 to upgrade to a hybrid system in the auditorium. Funds for this will come from our 22.2505 account, 81100, which is our capital improvements account. The timing of the governor's order has presented everyone with particular challenge in that the auditorium will not be available for use until mid to late July, well beyond June 12th. To remedy this, the committees that usually meet in the auditorium have requested their assemblage be temporarily held and covered in the recently upgraded room 208 conference room. Excuse me. There is no problem holding the meetings in this location. However, by design and budget, covering them via live broadcast or digital recording can only be accomplished if the aldermanic chamber is dormant. This because all technical elements of both locations are controlled by only one central switcher. I have to go back to the late 2019 at this point when we purchased a new switcher for the auditorium. That switcher never made it to the destination as it became the backbone of how we have broadcast all of the Board of Aldermen's Zoom committee meetings since the pandemic forced us into remote. As our solution lies in this switcher, and we are at the end of Zoom exclusive meetings, Access AV has rewired everything in our second floor control room in City Hall and installed this switcher with other required elements. So it is exclusively functional for room 208 coverage. If there is a caveat here, it is that since we had some credit from these other projects, the equipment cost was covered and labor was under $1,000, so we don't need to request anything additional as far as funds go. Excuse me. The Zoom hybrid element is a challenge in this conference room because by design, the microphones are omnidirectional based in the ceiling. While this allows for 360-degree entire room coverage, it also assures that there will be 360 degrees of feedback if a speaker source is introduced, which of course is part of the Zoom element. We are developing a workaround to this switch, which basically entails the room meeting source, separate laptop or desktop, to be the equivalent of someone sitting in the room participating in the meeting. The people in the Zoom meeting hear the people in the room via that computer's independent microphone. The people in the room hear the Zoom participants via the independent speakers on the computer. Our microphones pick up whatever sound is going on in the room and we broadcast to the public. We did do this yesterday. I said that I would update this today. And basically it worked out, it's working out a little better than we thought. What happens is the people that are on the Zoom meeting, everybody in the room can see them on the two big monitors on the walls. What they see in Zoom is a wide angle of the entire room. That's the difference than what would be like in the chamber as a hybrid, where the people on Zoom actually see whatever cameras we are using at that time for the broadcast. This way it breaks the chain in our system so you don't get any feedback through the system. So the Zoom people are watching the entire room, right? Where the people in the room are watching the regular Zoom meeting like we're having now. If somebody needs to make a presentation on Zoom, they share their screen and everybody sees it in the room on those two monitors. And we see it on our switcher because it's not audio. It's not gonna, it's visual. If anybody in the room needs to make a presentation, there's got to be a laptop that they're connected to Zoom on with their audio down so it doesn't feedback. And then they share their screen and everybody on Zoom and in the room sees their presentation up on the monitors. So it should work. We haven't tested everything, yet, but everything was working yesterday. We just got to make sure it's solid. So that's how that's going to work. Now on to new laptops. The laptops that Pete and I use on a daily basis have basically come to their end of life. They've served us well over the years, but technology does march on. IT has spec'd out 2 new ones for us that meet our continued requirements for television editing, which is quite high in computers. And we ask your approval to purchase these in the amount not to exceed $6,000. Now, funds for this will come from the 22.2505 account 54487, which is the equipment repairs and maintenance. Office chairs. It has been several years since our office editing chairs have been replaced at the studio. As we did not expend our usual budget for office supplies, due in part to the pandemic, we would like to use the remaining funds to purchase new chairs. Currently, there is just over $1,500 left, excuse me, which should purchase at least 6 quality chairs. We will work with the city sales representative at WB Mason to get the best pricing. So we do ask for your approval to spend an amount not to exceed the $1,500 to accomplish this. This fund, the funds for this will come from the 22.2505 61100 account. The franchise agreement, now I've just put a little bit here. We continue to meet on a bi-weekly basis with the subcommittee, and Comcast has supplied us with information concerning the renewal. And now I will put it over to Pete for the education part of this. And I'll take a deep breath.
Make sure I'm unmuted here. Okay, just one quick thing also on the Comcast subcommittee. This is the last weekend that people can get online at the city website and take the survey that we're looking to get information from people regarding Comcast TV and how they're getting their television entertainment these days. So we encourage you to go in. I believe that will be open through Sunday evening at midnight. As far as the Nashua ETV is concerned, there were far too many programs to list during the April and May timeframe. During the last 2 months, we provided live coverage of 10 Nashua School Board meetings. And as the pandemic continued, we provided as much live interscholastic sports coverage as possible. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions, especially early in the season, Nashua ETV was often the only way to watch spring sports for many. We produced live coverage of 24 events from many Nashua area venues. Through partnerships with other live streamers and community TV stations, we were able to show additional away games, either live or via tape delay. We also reciprocated by providing our live feeds for away teams when they were playing in Nashua. The new sports camera that we received back in January, late January, continues to work well. It provides a better picture and greater zoom range. The scoreboard interface that we were looking to purchase with that continues to be on back order, so we have not received that yet or paid for it. We're hoping that that becomes available soon. They're having issues like everyone else is with computer chips. So during the spring sports, we were using our original backup unit, so that continued to work. There were a couple of schools that did manage to present spring performances. We were able to record the Pennachuck Middle School spring concert a couple of weeks ago, and also a play from the Fairgrounds Middle School Drama Club. The Board of Education has moved back into the boardroom at Nashua North as of May 12th. Earlier in the month, we moved the video switcher and associated equipment we've been using in the studio to broadcast the BOE Zoom meetings. We moved that equipment back over to the boardroom at Nashua North. And everything so far has worked well back over at the North boardroom. There are a few unique live events during the period. On May 13th, we did our first live program from Nashua Community College as we covered their 2021 nursing graduation and pinning ceremonies. On the 24th, we provided live coverage of our first softball game as Nashua North played Nashua South from the softball fields at South. We used the new wireless hotspot to send our camera stream back to City Hall for broadcast on the channel. The hotspot will allow live programming from additional locations that have no internet access and are not on the city network. On June 6th, we were able to simulcast the Bishop Girton graduation ceremonies live. With their permission, we were able to do that and put it out in real time on Nashua ETV. Getting close to the end, 2 more paragraphs. The Nashua Adult School graduation was presented live last evening. North and South graduations will be presented next week, with Nashua North graduating on Monday at 7 p.m. and Nashua South on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Both ceremonies will be taking place at Stello Stadium. I know that there are limited tickets available for each graduating student, so we're going to present those live once again this year to the Nashua public. And Public Health Matters show continued production. There were 4 new episodes over the last 2 months. And they were aired on Nashua ETV as well as the other two PEG channels. We continue to provide technical assistance and airtime for the mayor's constituent programs. And we also continue to air PSAs on scheduling vaccines and combating vaccine hesitancy. So that is my report.
Dick, do you want to give your report?
Yeah, I was just waiting for Pete to pass it on.
Yeah,
I was actually introducing Mr. Gagnon, but I was muted. So, Mr. Gagnon, would you like to proceed with your report?
All righty. Good morning, everyone. It has been a trying year and a half for everyone. However, Access Nashua has weathered it quite well, in my opinion. The past few months, we still had more cancellations than we normally had due to guest unavailability. With that being said, though, we still have recorded in-house 76 shows. Oh, by the way, my report is covering March 1st through May 31st. So we had 76 in-house shows. Submitted to us from local residents were 23 shows. And we repeated 12 local shows that we've done in the past. We also were able to import 49 shows on various topics like cooking, music, art, including files from the National Gallery of Art and other historical type shows due to the affiliation we have with our PEG stations across the country. Breakdown of our local in-house shows produced during this time frame. Chick Chatting with Jocelyn had 11 shows. Charged Up Top 10 Countdown had 8 shows. Empower Hour with Greater Nashua Mental Health, which is one of our new shows, had 5 recordings. Exit Team Nashua had 11. Fairy Tale Access had 7. Frankly Speaking had 1. Gate City Chronicles had 2. We worked with the International Sculpture Symposium, and there were 3 shows that we did from that. United Way, Living United, and Interesting Times started back up. We had 1 show. Nashua Strong, 1 show. Perspectives, 4 shows. Speaking with the Senator, 8 shows. The People's View, 6 shows. The Ring and All Other Sports had 8 shows. Shows submitted by local residents. The Rotary Club of Nashua Presents submitted 2 shows. Unitarian Universalist Sermons, we had 12 shows. Public Health Matters, which came from Pete, we had 9 shows. Shows that were previously recorded in-house and re-aired were Happiness Jungle, we had 5 episodes. The Health View, 6 episodes. And the Veterans Forum, 1 episode. Now that restrictions have been lifted at the studio, we will be returning to allow more guests on the set, and producers have already mentioned that they are feeling more comfortable to come back since the majority of them are vaccinated, as is the whole staff at Access Nashua as well. We will be bringing our editor, Holland, back into the studio to do the editing instead of from home, where he's been for over a year now. This will help in reducing some delays and getting the files ready for airing, as well as for our producer's YouTube channel. We have a waiting list of 4 to 5 shows that Dan, our creative director, is working on. So in the near future, we'll be adding new shows to our lineup. That's all I have for today. I don't know who I'm supposed to send it off to, but
Andrew, you're
Oh,
muted.
sorry, I'm still muted. Thank you, Mr. Gagnon. Any questions for Mr. Gagnon, Mr. Painter, or Mr. Johnson?
Yeah,
Alderman
Mr.
Jettie.
Chairman? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so for Mr. Painter, at last night's budget review meeting, President Wilshire said that there was what she described as a hiccup in our the aldermanic committees and aldermanic board returning to live meetings. The hiccup she described was that that the public needs, or under the rules, I guess, now that the governor's emergency order has been lifted, we have to have a quorum present in the chamber or wherever the meeting is being held. The public has to have access, and we have to have a quorum. But as long as we have a quorum, other members who can't come to the meeting can appear. As in the past, they could call in. But she said that somehow there's no longer a phone line into the chamber, which would then make our meetings not accessible to members who cannot appear physically. Do you know what I'm talking about, Mr. Painter? Did you hear that? And can you elaborate on that? Is that a problem or not?
It could be. I know that Nick, I don't know if you guys, because I know Donna had talked.
Yeah, we're working on it, Jeff.
Yeah, I
We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Alderman Jettie, what happened was, of course, this was all installed over a year ago, and we've been, going hot and heavy trying to get the Zoom element in there and do the hybrid, and also, of course, the phone we hadn't really touched until all of a sudden it looked like that. Yeah, that's that you'll have to call in if you're not there, and that's where we started yesterday, and then it came to light. And now Nick and IT's working on it, so we'll get it. It's there. It's just that we've got to find out why it wasn't working. That's all. It never actually had been tested because nobody was there to test it over these months until now.
So if I could ask a follow-up question, this is Alderman Jettie again. Members who cannot, physically come, as long as there's a quorum, we can have the meeting. But members who cannot come, can they, under this new hybrid system, can't they call in on Zoom? Can't they participate in the meeting by Zoom?
I'm confused about that as much as anybody else. I mean, it is my understanding we had asked our legal interpretation in the city of what this will mean. And what I put in the report, that was my understanding, that as long as you have a quorum in person in the room, you could, you would be required to do the telephone, but that also could mean Zoom. But I don't know. I don't know if that's, I think today we're going to obviously have to have a clarification today, because next week we've got meetings every night. So yeah, I apologize. I'm not clear on that either. And it appears that most people aren't, and it's something we have to just find out about. I think they will allow the Zoom element, but I'm not sure, because the old rules, the original rules, of course, didn't have that in. It was really, that in order to actually use the phone bridge, there had to be a absolute, Loctite excuse not to be there. It wasn't, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm not going to be there. So,
Alderman Jettie, this is Pete Johnson. From the research that I've been doing and getting information from other PEG stations and looking up what's going on with Senate Bill 95, in the State House. They're going to, peers, look at what they can do with changing the rules in, I guess it's 94A, which is the right to know, to determine whether we can have Zoom access or not. But as of today, unless the governor says something differently, the current emergency orders will expire tonight at midnight, and everything goes back to the way it was pre-pandemic for meetings. And part of that is that there has to be an emergency, and that has to be talked about by and put in writing by the chair of the committee or the board, what the emergency is and why somebody can't attend in person. And from what I understand, the pandemic will no longer be an excuse not to attend if you are a public servant or serving on a board such as that. So it'll be interesting to see what finally happens, but it's all in a state of flux as of today. So going to be a lot of legal wrangling, I think, throughout the state over the next few weeks to see what happens.
I see Ms. Kleiner has something that she'd like to add.
Good morning, Kim Kleiner. So at least one legal opinion that we got earlier did state that it seemed as though Zoom could be used as a medium, but that is correct. A quorum of the committee or the board that is meeting would have to physically be present in the meeting space. There's been some question on that the past 24 hours, and we have asked for some clarification from legal to clarify that Zoom can be used as that medium and not just the phone call that has originally historically been used. I think we'll get more information on that over the next 6 or 7 hours, but that's where we have been left.
Mr. Painter.
Painter, yeah, and just to add to that, from our standpoint at CTV, we're just going to be ready. I mean, this is what this is all. We want to make sure that Zoom is available in these meetings. Whether it's used or not, that's, that obviously is the question that's going to hopefully be answered today. But we just want to make sure that we're ready to, offer that element in each meeting.
Alderman Jettie.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to make it clear that I think what you're saying is that we're talking about several things. I think one is the requirement that members, like let's take the Board of Aldermen. One is the requirement that there be a quorum of the board present in the room, which I think there's no question about that, in order to have a legal meeting. And the public has to have access to that same meeting room. I don't think there's any question about that. The third thing is that members of the Board of Aldermen who cannot physically attend, because of illness or they're out of the area or traveling or whatever, in the past they've been able to call in and attend the meeting by phone. The question here that we're being presented with is that evidently there's not a phone line available, at least right now. Hopefully there will be by Monday. And the question is whether or not, instead of calling in by phone, they could attend the meeting by Zoom. A separate issue, which I don't think is an issue, is whether or not the public can attend by Zoom. And and I hope that I think that's the case, and I hope it is, because I think public access to the meetings by Zoom, has been kind of a silver lining to this whole pandemic thing. I think it's much easier for people. It makes it much more, the meetings much more accessible to people if they can attend by Zoom. And I hope that we're going to be able to offer this hybrid solution where meeting the requirements of a quorum being present in the room, that the public and the members who cannot attend would be able to participate by Zoom, because I think it's been a great thing. I think you people have done a wonderful job providing Zoom access. It's been a blessing during this pandemic, and I think it would be continue to be advantageous in the future. The other thing I wanted to make a comment while I have the floor, Mr. Chairman, is
certainly.
Maybe I missed it, but did you at the beginning of the meeting, did you ask for public comment? I don't remember that you did, but maybe I missed it.
I did briefly, but seeing that there was no members of the public.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
We went rather quickly by it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. I guess the next thing would be we don't appear to have any old business. New business, financial requests. Are there motions with regard to, I believe there were 2 financial requests that were made in the course of Mr. Painter's report. Mr. Painter?
Jeff Painter, actually there was 3.
Oh, 3, right.
So, Mr. Chairman, are you looking for a
Yes, I'm looking for a motion.
Yeah. So, do you want to take them individually?
That's probably best.
Okay.
Although with our requirement for a roll call, that will be a lot of talking, but I think it is best to do all 3 separately. So.
Okay, so I make a motion that we authorize the expenditure of up to $7,500 to provide additional technical equipment. I think in the aldermanic chamber. Is that? Do I have it correct?
The auditorium.
The auditorium. Sorry.
Hybrid system in the auditorium. All right. There's a motion. Any discussion? Mr. Misrovich.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed Mr. Painter's introduction. Is this to provide, so they can do Zoom and live meetings in the auditorium?
Correct. This will be the same exact setup as in the chamber.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll proceed with a roll call. Andrew Cernoto votes yes. Mr. Chapman is still not here. Ms. Highland?
Yes.
Alderman Jetty?
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner?
Yes.
Ms. Linder is still not here. Ms. McCormick?
Yes.
Captain Medeiros?
Yes.
Mr. Misrovich?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan is still not here. Chief Rhodes?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All right, the motion has passed. Alderman Jetty, do you have another motion?
Yes, I move that for the authorization of up to $6,000 for new laptops.
Any discussion of the motion? Don't see anyone that looks like they have any discussion, so we'll proceed with a roll call. Andrea Sonoda votes yes. Mr. Chapman is still absent. Ms. Highland.
Sally Highland votes yes.
Alderman Jettie.
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner.
Yes.
Ms. Lindner is still absent. Ms. McCormick.
Yes.
Captain Medeiros.
Yes.
Mr. Meiserovich.
Yes.
Mr. Morgan is still absent. Chief Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay, the motion has passed. Alderman Jettie, another motion.
Yes, I move for the authorization to spend up to $1,500 for new office chairs.
All right, any discussion of the motion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to roll call. Andrea Sonoda votes yes. Mr. Chapman is still absent. Ms. Highland.
Sally Highland votes yes.
Alderman Jettie.
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner.
Yes.
Ms. Lindner is still absent. Ms. McCormick.
Yes.
Captain Medeiros.
Yes.
Mr. Meiserovich.
Yes.
Mr. Morgan is still absent. Chief Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
All right, the motion has passed. Okay. All right, there's another opportunity for comments from members of the public or others. We don't appear to have any members of the public with us. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to comment?
Yes, I have one question and a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. On the sports camera, it's on back order. Is the money for that encumbered? Will there be any problem with the fiscal year for expending that money when it does come in?
Mr. Painter, would you like to address that?
I can address it. Yeah. Actually, it has already been authorized by CTAB to purchase that. That authorization can go through next year as well. It's part of our capital improvements budget. So it's not going to matter that it doesn't get in this fiscal year. So.
Thank you. I have one more point to bring up. I think we're not meeting until after the first week in August. Is that right? The next meeting?
Mr. Painter?
September, correct?
Okay. So therefore, I just want to make known to all of you and to the public that there will be a household hazardous waste collection at 25 Crown Street on the first Saturday in August. That's August 7th from 8 a.m. to noon. Thanks for letting me say that.
All right, thank you. All right, any other remarks by members of the committee? Alderman Jettie.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, in spite of our best efforts to clarify the limited function of the franchise agreement, I'm continuing to get correspondence from people, telling me that if we change cable providers, that they want to make sure that they can have the same features that they have on their TV that Comcast provides now. The ability to speak to the TV and their favorite channels. They don't want to lose those, and they want to have on demand and internet service and etc. So it just indicates that some people are still under the mistaken impression that that we somehow have the ability to regulate how choose cable providers. They think that there's an exclusive arrangement with Comcast, and there isn't. As we've said many times, any provider can come into the city and establish provide cable's TV service. The problem is that they would have to invest in the infrastructure necessary to do that, or make some kind of arrangement with Comcast, if that's possible, to acquire space on their cables. I don't know if that's possible or not, but
I think it's possible, but probably not likely.
Right. And that we cannot regulate what channels Comcast provides or what features they provide through their cable TV boxes or whatever. So I think that we have probably gotten that word out to a lot of people, but there's still some people that don't appreciate the limited capability that we have to regulate the cable TV service that we have.
Thank you, Alderman. That is a very good point to make, that as far as regulation, we actually have very little regulatory authority. We can certainly pass along concerns that people have, and that's probably the city's best role, is to be able to be a liaison for the citizens and the subscribers to Comcast. But the franchise agreement discussion that we're in the process of has very limited actual authority, as opposed to opportunities to influence the discussion or to raise issues that Comcast might be facing. That's, since they are a service business, I'm sure that they are probably interested to hear. Thank you for providing that clarification. Ms. Kleiner, you had something?
Yes, so Kim Kleiner, we have asked that we be given the report or the results of the survey on Monday morning, and we'll put it into a report and issue it to the committee for our next meeting. And in the past, that has also been provided to Comcast to give them some feedback as to what our residents have responded.
Excellent. Thank you.
So,
Chairman,
I ask another follow-up?
Yes, Alderman Jettie.
Yeah, just to follow up. So these emails that I've received, you're talking about Comcast, not that don't really apply to the franchise agreement, but feedback that Comcast would probably be interested in. Where do I? Who's the conduit? Is Ms. Kleiner? Are you the conduit for that?
Ms. Kleiner?
Kleiner, I would be happy to put those together with the report that we will give to Mr. Christensen, who is the Comcast representative.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chairman.
Ms. Hyland.
Can Pete repeat the access to the survey so that people still have a few days to do that? How do you get to it?
This is Pete Johnson. It is on the homepage of the city website. So if you go there, there's information on a link on where to go to take that survey. Like I said, it ends on Sunday at midnight, I believe. And one other thing, in the past, we have had maybe annual or once every 18-month visits to this committee from Brian Christensen. Might be worthwhile to have another one upcoming, maybe in September, that he sits in with the committee and can answer some questions from committee members or members of the public and promote that. And that's a way for Comcast to get some feedback on what Nashua residents are thinking, and also to help explain to the public that what the city can and can't do in within the franchise. So,
thank you. And the URL for the city website is nashuanh.gov, and the Comcast franchise renewal survey is on the right on the it's the main banner on the front homepage of the city website. There's a link. There's a more detailed link, address that follows it. nashuanh.gov /1484/Comcast-franchise-renewal. All right, any other, Mr. Mazurich?
Yeah, just for anyone who's not aware, City Hall has been reopened as of June 7th. And anyone looking for the city clerk for items like vital records, marriage licenses, dog licenses, etc., they are still temporarily on the 3rd floor of City Hall.
All right, thank you. Any other remarks by members of the committee? If not, is there a final motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Ms. Kleiner. All right, well, no discussion on that. So Andrew Sonoda votes yes. Mr. Chapman's still not here. Ms. Highland.
Sally Highland votes yes.
Alderman Jettie.
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner.
Yes.
Ms. Linder is still not here. Ms. McCormick.
Yes.
Captain Medeiros.
Yes.
Mr. Mazurich.
Yes.
Mr. Morgan is still not with us. Chief Rhodes. I think he might have left the call. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes. See everyone in September. And if we may have renewal associated meetings in the interim, but everyone will get notice of those. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody, for the time.
Thank you.
Take care.